Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth, the truth. You have to go back to the roots, the roots. Go to the roots, to the roots. Yeah, man, this is Benjamin out of the Smiling Coast, West Africa, Gambia, representing for the one and only Abu, the big man you don't know, the Soninke warrior, the man that brings the truth, Soninke warrior, the sign of enlightenment, the Soninke warrior, the righteous and the true African. Abu, reveal the truth to them, no matter how them try run from it, because none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Yes, we have to dig back the roots, yeah. Fire!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Afrodamus Report. I want to welcome all of you to another edition of the Afrodamus Report. Bernard, welcome to the show. I see you're the first person that commented today, and all the people have been mentioned. So, ladies and gentlemen, today I'm going to, I'm going to react to it's a couple of videos that Go Black to Africa made after his recent visits to, Liberia and Sierra Leone. Stoic One, Visionary, Osuniemi, I want to welcome all of you here. And if you have been following me for quite some time now, you would see that I have made two videos already where someone might think, oh, Afridamus might have something against, Go Black to Africa. But it's nothing like that. This is, where I'm taking a video and critically looking at it. But it doesn't mean that, like, when you see something you criticized previously, right? It could, the same individual, but the message and whatever the person is saying is different. If they are telling the truth, you should be able, to point that out as well. But many people live in a fantasy world. Because before, when I came, I was talking about, how people that talk about this Pan-Africanist stuff, I said this is a Western concept. Because you have people who, they socialize in the Western world. So pretty much they are, culturally, you see black people who grew up in the Western world, culturally they are white people too, because it's all about the thought process and the culture. I'm able to know this because um, I came from an African culture, and I also partly grew up in the Western culture, where I'm able to understand the form of thinking. So I'm able to point it out. But then you would have people like in America, it's easy to create your own fantasy about what you think things should be like. It's very easy for people to be in America and get lost in the source, like, like certain type of poverty, they cannot picture that, being a reality in some places. Because like in America, yes, you would see some people who are poor, but it's not the majority. So when you go to some of these places in Africa, the honest truth is, especially West Africa, you would see that there is way more poor people in poverty than those who earned. No one is saying like, okay, it's everybody, one and the same. So people that travel from country to country, um, sometimes they can give you the honest truth about places. So without even people wondering, like getting into whatever the reasons are or aren't, we have to judge things according to what we are seeing presently, because I've seen people who say, okay, there's so many people putting out negativity about Africa. There is so many people, they only show war-torn Africa, or they present Africans as beggars whatsoever. Okay, true. Like sometimes things like that, it it puts a bad light on, it makes people see Africans in that light. But again, you have to look at the flip side of the argument here. Because if you're coming from an area, part of the world where a majority of this thing is this condition is what is prevalent there. Okay. So obviously people are not gonna be as wrong about having that perception, because this reality is there, is existing. And I'm not gonna get into whether it's someone's fault, who caused it, who didn't cause it. What I know is they exist. But then you have people who are very offended by when people present, show these things, when in fact we know they're there. Or some would say, let us just show the most beautiful things and create this life, paint this picture, when we know it's the people in the very, very minority who can live that life. And sometimes it's very easy to be blinded by not just pointing a finger at the coach, but what about the players? I know it's easy to point fingers at say the presidents, whoever the leaders. Maybe they have good intention, but what about the people? Because you could be the best coach ever, but as much as you want to win, your team has to want to win more than you, because the team is the one that's going to be playing. They have to want to win more than the coach for this winning to happen. So in this part of Africa, that's what's lacking. So when it's shown in videos, people get mad. For instance, there was named a guy named Drew Binsky, white guy. He travels around, just like Go Black to Africa, but he went to, a lot more countries. And he would show these places. So he went to Gambia, and they took him to some market. I mean, this market is hella, I'm talking very, very backwards, dirty. So this is what whoever his tour guides were, whatever, that this is the place they took him to, and many other places, right? Few other places that, so he gave his honest opinion about what he saw, and the camera showed it too. And then some Gambians got upset. They said, oh, this man is painting the country in a bad light. Like, what do you mean this man is painting this country in a bad light? So you know that environment is a bad environment. It shouldn't be in existence. So that means people in Africa, they know the reality, they know the truth, but they don't want to do anything about it. So they're saying, oh, when you show this, that puts us in bad light, but yet that environment do exist. And they demanded an apology from him. I'm like, okay, what's this all about? But somehow he apologized for telling the truth, since that's the world we're living in. But now, that coming from that white man, right? Other people, who are quote unquote pro black, they've gone to Africa. They're like, hey, we would flip this around. We would show, you know, the good side, the nice places, because they were making it seem like it's just a conspiracy. these countries are first world countries. They can hang. So, because like some of these pro blacks, they just cannot just get up and leave and go enjoy the world, because that's that inner, white liberal in them, but they don't want to admit it, because in America, the people are adventurous. They're not most, like in these countries, in most of these African countries, I'm telling you, especially Liberia, Sierra Leone, the people, it's hard. They struggle for breakfast and dinner. And I'm going to come to that in a minute. Breakfast and dinner. They struggle with this. So they're not going to be thinking about any adventures, but you're over in America and you want to do this travel stuff. Fine. You can afford to do it. But painting, not everybody is going to continue painting a picture that's not realistic, because we all know, like there has to be another side to the story. There has to be. Because you're coming from your first world. You have this Wakanda, you know, because now when you talk to most black people, they really believe Africa is like a Wakanda style, like they depicted in the movie. Like it's not like it's countries, but it's just this one big country, not a continent. So different places, different areas have different standards. So the people that travel to all these areas, because they are able to see this, they can tell you the truth. And some, they just want to skew the reality because of whatever, their ego, their pride. They feel like, oh, and for some reason, whenever people, again, that's why I gave the Gambian thing as an example. People would see things that are facts. They're like, oh, this right here is not, you are deeming it as not being good. But you said they shouldn't forget about the people that are living in this condition. But the only way also people can see that these people exist, you have to film it and show it to the world. But when you show it, now they are saying you are insulting those people. But if you create a Wakanda vision, because that person that is sitting in there on their couch in Atlanta, Georgia, New York, or wherever you are, you know, their only idea of Africa is what they think it should be. That's just like you're reading a book. Um, I mean, if it's about adventure, the way you're going to interpret it, and the way I'm going to interpret it, they're going to be different, because we're now creating a picture in our heads. So, so the real Africa, is like glossed over. It's glossed over. And when I say Africa, it's not all, because now the people, for instance, if you show most black people picture videos of places like, let's say, South Africa, they have modern standard, Western standard, infrastructure, right? But that's not the whole of Africa. Most African countries don't look like that. So that individual would think, oh, South Africa looks like California. That's what they're thinking, because in their head, and the environment they're used to, it is hard for them to actually, accept the real part of it. So this is why it's easier to deceive the people with, this quote unquote pro black stuff. But now, you guys know Go Black to Africa, right? Go Black to Africa, he traveled through Africa. Um, he's been to Ghana, I think Gambia, Senegal. Like at least 5 countries in West Africa, and another 5 in East Africa. So it is fair to say he's, you know, his understanding of the area, we can accept that he knows what he's talking about, right? Provided it's based in facts, we can accept that. And we also know that he promotes, sometimes, he would exaggerate the Africa thing, um, to show his hatred for the United States. Hatred, but it's not really hate, because he calls America, you know, damn America. That is just because what he's come across traveling in Africa. He noticed his American privilege. So he became guilty, like how white liberal usually would do when they see that they're living better. So he sees, like, okay, I'm it's not about being black. He is doing much better than the people over there, majority. So the guilt, he's like, let me just pretend that I hate Africa. But when he was in Tanzania, in East Africa, it seemed like he was having, a great time. He was showing lots of modern infrastructure and a whole lot. Um, but one thing I've always noticed, he's not too fond of the West African bloc thing. Because you see, go back to Africa, even though he would talk pro black, but one thing about him, he's looking for good destination, with a good destination that is mostly majority black, but also with American amenities, close to first world amenities. That's what I would tell people here in America. I'm like, you have first world problems. You cannot compare first world problems to third world problems. Completely different. So I guess in East Africa, in Southern Africa, he was in environments where still reminds him of mostly of America. So his talking points were a bit different back then. Was a bit different. So he decided to visit Sierra Leone and Liberia. In fact, prior to coming in to Sierra Leone, he filmed it. He flew into Morocco. Morocco is very much almost like a first world, standard, the roads, the infrastructure, they're to almost a first world level, like you would see here in America. So came through there and they went to Sierra Leone. And I was very, very curious about his take on Sierra Leone, because you see, I spent um, part of my childhood over there in Sierra Leone. So I'm very familiar with the place. So made me very, very interested. And you know how, like, you would hear stories about a place or you read about the place, and then, but when you read the story, you that actually knows about what this place is, if it's true, in the reading, you'll be able to tell if it's true or not. Okay? So I don't think it's good to do this confirmation bias thing. Um, if Mr. A says something and they're giving you the same conclusion, right? And then you're pro-black person. If the white man says the same thing, you're like, oh no, the white man just hates blacks, want to, Africa has these nice places, but they just went and picked this one place that doesn't exist. In fact, it's a painting. Some of Because the way some of these people talk is as if, the white people are just conspiring to do this. Then now we have a pro-black journalist. Like I said, Go Black to Africa is looking for an actual good destination in Africa. Nothing wrong with that. So he's had the time to come back to America to reflect, and then went to West Africa. So he was ready to give us his honest take on Sierra Leone and Liberia. And he even made a video comparison to East Africa and West Africa. And I think this is a learning moment. Instead of people being upset and saying, no, 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 oh, Go Black don't know what he's talking about. Oh, he knows what he's talking about. Let's not, like, shoot the messenger. Let's listen to the message and match it to what the messenger is saying and what previous messengers were saying, whether it's true, false, or make believe. But at some point, you see, this fantasy of trying to Wakandanize, Africa and stuff like that. I don't know if it's gonna work. It is not working because things you frown upon, things you don't want to do, those are the things you're going to encounter. So here I'm gonna play Go Black Steak on Sierra Leone. Let's listen.
There was some issues. And like anywhere else I've been, there's been issues. But there's just some things when I don't understand it, I ask the question why. Now, it was, let's just say, hectic getting in. Of course, COVID changes a whole lot of things when getting into a country. And, you know, it will change your whole mindset when you see how business is being done.
And this is fair use, by the way, fair use. So Go Black, as you see, he's gonna try choose his words wisely, but let's listen to what he has to say, um, because his assessment and previous people's assessment, let's see if they match, or if some people are just selling you a Wakanda version of Africa.
Now, when I got there to Sierra Leone, of course, I was given heads up by THC, the Pan African TV channel, what have you. What's up, my brother? He gave me a heads up of what to expect when getting over there. And so I had a little knowledge, but thank goodness I had that information because it definitely would have been twice as worse had I not known the information. But one of the issues that I came across was really, you're being bombarded by people who are, trying to, get money out of you. So when I got down there,
So what he's saying is, at the airport, which is it's called Lunge Airport in Sierra Leone, exactly what he is saying here. I mean, it seems like just like yesterday, I'm right there seeing it because I've traveled through that airport as a kid. He's dead on. It seems like time didn't change. It's like time was just still. And he's talking about people begging, and that is true. There is tons of people begging. So, however people want to take that, so he's correct in that aspect because I remembered seeing that as a kid too. Let's continue.
in the airport, you get your bags, you got to go through customs and stuff like that. You know, some countries you go to, they don't bother you, or there are those once you get through all that, you got your baggage, your luggage, you got to go get your COVID test there. They're asking you for a little extra money. Can you leave money here in the envelope? Can you put money over here in the box, the whatever? And so it,
You see, this is why in the beginning I said it's not just going to be always to say the presidents and stuff. Hey, some of these places, this is it's like a cultural norm. The people are not thinking about the progress that way. So the corruption is that he's describing, he is accurate. This is facts. This is accurate. So when people are coming from the first world in America, you're not thinking, okay, a cop is gonna tell me to put something in the envelope. I'm sure like people encounter this, but in some places it is more than others. So he's been nice about it, but what he's talking about is the corruption, the bribery that you face.
you will be bombarded by those who's just trying to get extra money out of you. And then trying to get your SIM card, and then you're dealing with people with that. You're being rushed by different business companies who are trying to of course sell you boat rides over to Freetown. So you gotta think about that. Me and my travels there. That's one indication that the people are hurting. When you see that people who are working for the government, people who are in the police, people who are working in the airports and stuff that are trying to get money from you, is an indication that there's a struggle beyond what you would may even imagine.
That means the country is completely out of order. Out of order. Like in another video where he talked about buying chicken, fried chicken that he said he would never eat. And man, that brought flashbacks to me. I remember growing up there as a kid, we never ever were allowed to go like eat from a restaurant or buy food from people selling, because the honest truth is that was an issue. They sold him, I think he said 3 days old fried chicken. That's a thing. I couldn't even believe that still exists over there. I couldn't even believe it. I remember that being one of the things. And another thing too was, um, I'm sure, I mean, he did not talk about this, but I'm just telling you when I was a kid. So you know how like in the West here in America, they would say, oh, run away from the white van, white van. So we had those stories too, but there is always some truth to it. Okay. So when I lived in a place area called Kono, that's inside in Sierra Leone, deep down, Sefadu, not far from Liberia. So they would say, watch out for the vans because they used to, kids would disappear. They would say the cannibals would steal kids, take them to Liberia because there's some tribes there that eat human beings. And people would freak out about it and say that's not real. But over there, when I was growing up as a kid, we never argued that that's not real because it is very possible. And then when the war came there, we started seeing videos. You can look this up on YouTube. Some of those people in Liberia were in fact drinking human blood. They were eating humans, proving that in fact some of these tribes were cannibals. Okay? Not all, but there are some who in fact exhibited this. So when you watch stuff like this, right? And For instance, you're seeing, you if you grew up like in an area where your parents have always warned you, oh, when you see the van without windows, you need to disappear because they steal children. Bad things happen to kids, right? So you're not going to take that chance. And then you see a real life documentary that is made to confirm exactly what you used to be warned by. That is, if you've never known somebody that disappeared, you don't have to know people to know this is a fact. So when Go Black talked about them selling the chicken, 3 days old fried chicken, mind you, they don't they didn't even warm it up. So that was a thing. This is why we did not eat in restaurants or eat anywhere. Okay? That's why we didn't. So I was able to confirm that story, saying that Go Black, he did not make that up. Let's allow him to continue.
Little did I know I would see a struggle that really struck me to my core. Getting out of that airport and then had to get a boat ride over to Freetown, I thought was so antiquated. A lot of things were antiquated. And I asked myself a million times, why? How can we have a government system that will allow such things that go on that could be so easily fixed? Leaving the airport to get to your boat, you're going through a dirt roads of bumps and hills, as we would call African massages. When you're shaking the cars and vehicles and you're rocking back and forth, and it's like,
And it's like, that's just for some reason. That's why I said it seems like time stopped completely, because that's how I remembered the place to be. And that was a while back. Because sometimes people like to say, oh, it's because of the war. Well, I'm telling you, before the war, still, they would sell 3 days old fried chicken that other people didn't buy. This is why in these places, people would have lots of, stomach issues, problems, because there is just not, like a proper standard to control these things. So for me, like people like to say, oh no, when you talk about these things, you're just pointing out negativity. But people need to know the truth to change things. People have to face reality to change the things that they're seeing and deeming to be quote unquote negative. Because you see, like, if you're ashamed of people saying it, then there is something wrong. There is something wrong. That's why when people bring it up, you see all these people who pretend to be patriotic. They're like, how dare you say that about my country? Well, like, the film is right there. This is not like pointing fingers at you. Like, yes, you're part of the team, but the reality is, when you're part of a team where the players don't want to play, you have to find a team that is willing to play with you so that you guys can win. So that's just how it is. Not everyone is going to be on the same wavelength. So the people know the truth, but they don't want to admit to the truth. And then you have pro blacks who like to paint a different picture and say, oh, we don't want to be like those white people, and show things. That's just hatred. So the people you are deceiving and telling them this is Wakanda, how do you think they're going to feel when they get there? So that's the truth. Let's let Go Black keep. telling us more.
This is a major airport that majority of people are going to Freetown, that you haven't constructed a simple road for 1 mile, if it's that, to get to the shore to get on the boat. But in saying that, here it is. We get to a place on the boat, which is a 30-minute ride to get over to Freetown. And so we get to Freetown and I get over to my hotel. Now, of course, y'all see my video when I get to my hotel and all that right there. This is had high reviews, and I could have stayed at the, what is it, the Sheraton Blue, and I could have done that. Then typically I try to stay away from major chains unless I'm with my wife or what have you, and find some place a little different where more of a you can get more of the local feel, but still it costs some money. But I had my cockroaches that were bothering me at night, popping up on my bed.
So, so Mr. Go Black is telling us he's in his hotel and he pretty much he couldn't sleep, have a peaceful night's sleep because there were cockroaches jumping up and down on him. So it's like, look, I don't th- I'm he's not blaming the people. He's just giving us his experience. So people, at some point, like, because you're coming with a standard. Pretty much what he's telling you is from the airport, the introduction there is telling you you're walking into a place where there is no standard. So the cockroaches were in the hotel. They didn't pay, but they wanted to spend the night there too. So that's what he's letting us know. And he's being nice about it.
And running around the room, and I paid the rent. They didn't. They're trying to get a free ride, and so I had to get out of that situation, especially when you paying a decent dollar to stay in a place. And but that is not even the issue, really. On the bad side, if you will, the poverty broke me. People are hard workers. People are doing it every day. And I keep hearing people saying about the government, and I'm trying to tell them, okay, let's forget the government right now. How can we get over this? How can we, how can we start with, having pride in ourselves? How about knowing who we are?
So, so see, Go Black there, he became the coach that wanted to win more than the team. The team doesn't want to play. They're telling you, no, coach, come on, you're forcing us to win. We don't want to win. We don't want to win. We got to create an opponent, and that opponent is the government. But the government, the people in the government are from that society. They could not be the only people responsible for these things. So that's why I said sometimes this, a lot of these things that people present, they are eye openers. Like they could show you like a nice area, one nice area, but then there has to be a balance and show what is more common. So that's what Go Black is doing. Yeah, he said the poverty there, that's what I was telling you guys. See, when people have breakfast and dinner problem, that's real poverty. Because if the man goes to bed hungry, waking up, they're not gonna eat till maybe noon again. That's a problem. They won't be thinking about, you know, um, cleaning up the road or the next bridge idea. No, they're always going to be chasing that breakfast and dinner, how to overcome that. So, however that happened, who knows? But let's hear more.
Because the pollution, what people live in, was what struck me. I could not believe the plastics that are around, and we know plastics don't go nowhere. The trash, the poverty that so many people are struck by. You know, the only thing I saw that really was a positive of development since the independence of the country was the roads that were constructed by the Chinese. And I'm like, what has this government's.
You guys remember I did an interview before on Kinganda O'Shea's channel. And when I said some of these countries need to be colonized, recolonized, and some people pretended to be mad. That's why, that's what he's pointing out. Some these places, the only roads you would see or build big building is what the white people left there, what the white people built and left there. They have not added anything new. In these countries, you look at it, even the presidential thing, because like especially in Sierra Leone, they believe in this chief stuff. So most of these West African countries, they're like that, into chief. But the president system now is pretty much the bigger chief, the chief of all the chiefs. Because back in the days, most places maybe they are just the tribes have their own chiefs, their own system. But the president system is the chief that is over all the other tribes to make it a united nation. So they are fighting for who gets to go to the governor's big mansion, because these state houses, you know, um, in these various countries were built by the same colonialists who came there. The governors used to occupy those big mansions. So most of these places have not changed. So he's accurate about that. So when people are talking about, oh, come on through, let's take you to these places, they are showing you, slave castles. Aren't you tired of seeing that? They are showing you some church that was built, you know, like 300 years ago by some white people. These are the things they are showing you. So you mean to tell me you are dying, running, going to saying, oh, I'm oppressed in America, but I'm going to a place where to go look at old colonial and slave house buildings. I mean, at some point, you're going to get tired of that. And then what? So that's the other side of the coin. This video is about the flip side.
These governments over the years have done for the people. Why does these electricity keep going out so often? Why is it the drainage and the smell and the stench of the sewer systems are antiquated? Why?
You guys remember in that same video where I did the interview, we had a Kenyan guy that came here, Mishuri. Mishuri was offended when I talked about the electricity instability, as if I'm just making it up. Look at Go Black. He is pointing that out. Okay? He's pointing that out. Hey, look, I'm not saying like Go Black is the, moral standard of who should point things out. But at least he's not allowing himself to continue living, he's not painting you a Wakandan picture. Your Wakandan, because like people have gone from one extreme to the other. Before, you remember when they talk about Africa, they say, oh, the place is poor, the people can't even get water. So that's one extreme, right? They show you, like those late night videos, infomercials. They would say, "Oh, for 33 cents, you can feed you an African in an African village." So they would show like a kid, with pot belly, big head, skinny arms. So, like, I used to see that, right? So that's the extreme. But now, starting around 2019, 2020, when they say we have to stamp out, quote unquote, white supremacy. So they brought in Wakanda. Now they've moved people from the extreme that I was telling you, because many people believe that's what Africa was, or the Bushman type. I heard in South Africa that's offensive, but I'm just telling you in American terms how people would picture it. So they created the Wakandan version, and you have few who, instead of balancing it, they went with the extreme as well. So, and these are not based in truth. And anything that isn't based in truth, at some point, the truth is going to come out. I mean, it's going to hurt people, but I don't know why, but the truth will come out at some point. It's going to shatter some people's fantasy, and they are not going to want to accept it. They won't want to accept it. When I was saying most of these places have not developed anything since colonial times, people are like, "Oh, you're just a self-hater. You want to talk down on Africans." I am an African. Why would I want to talk down to myself? What purpose would that serve me? But I'm just saying, look, this right here that people complain about, they can do something about it. But very few people cannot do it. That's not how it works. Is what the people are thinking, they are showing that in the environment. So that's what people are seeing. Let's continue.
When I look into the rivers in the ocean, that the trash are floating around, and it was like, it was heartbreaking.
This is Krube, a slum community near Sierra Leone's capital, Freetown. This trash you see here is a playing ground for small children. Animals like pigs, dogs, cats, and vultures are all attracted by the strong smells. There's no sanitation.
You see that? So it looks like Go Black himself filmed this. Some people are going to say, oh, this is just one area. No, I mean, this is a playground for kids. This is why when I was even doing the Equatorial Guinean one here, the oil-rich country, the same thing. Didn't you guys see kids playing in dumping grounds like that? In Sierra Leone, I used to see this. You see the kids playing there, and the pigs, and some of these dumping grounds. There is people that come there to fish through, what people are throwing away. That's a hard sight to see. That's a hard sight to see. So that part of Africa still exists even today. So instead of people just saying, no, you shouldn't be showing that, you should just Wakandanize it, that doesn't make sense. They want to show you, buildings that, the same colonial people you hate so much, they're the ones that built that. That's the tourist attractions. That's a problem. Look, there is poverty everywhere in Africa, but some places are way, way too poor. So there's no need to try to, fancy it up to make it look like what it isn't. It's not helping anyone. The ego and pride, I know, is in the way for some, but the reality will remain.
No cleaning and the creation of stagnant waters attracts malaria-carrying mosquitoes that kills thousands of children every year.
Waste is poorly managed, especially in the city, and as a result of that, because of the absence of
So this is, you can see, this video wasn't shot by white people. It's a Sierra Leonean guy. Okay? You see there's a child right there in the middle of the trash heap, just rummaging through them. So, but yet, have you seen this from any of those pro Wakandan people showing you that this exists? No, they didn't show you any of that. And this is, it's like, if you go to that country, you get to the capital. That's the capital, right? Looks like that. In fact, did you guys see the picture of the happy companion falling in a sewage over there in Sierra Leone, in Freetown? Like, he had a huge cut in his leg. Imagine, he was lucky he didn't lose his leg. That's pretty wild. And that was common. In fact, myself right here, as a kid, I fell in one of those sewers before. I mean, I jumped in it. That's a whole nother different story. Just, open sewers, making the place smell, the city smell. So when you walk into places and you see that, how are you going to ignore it? Some people are going to say, oh, they didn't go to this place, they didn't experience it. But what about the majority? There are people that experience this. You see? So when people, like many Africans you talk to, they like to say, it is the dictators. Okay, maybe those are the big dictators, but majority of the people are mini dictators, because they will tell you, oh, you shouldn't talk about this, you shouldn't show this. But then they would say, oh, we need help. Help with what? You guys see, Happy Companion is in the house. Welcome. He said, yes, bro, was no joke. So he's confirming the story. So that was I'm telling you, from the time when I used to live there back in the days as a kid. So it's like time has just stopped. It didn't change. The same issues they still have those same issues. For whatever the reason is, who knows? And Sierra Leone, they have diamonds. Rainfall. They shouldn't have food problems. They shouldn't have these problems. But at some point, you want to Wakandanize things, but you can't help it when you see stuff like this. Am I right or wrong? So Go Black, I gotta give it to him for giving us the real picture of what is happening.
dumping sites in the city. A lot of garbage gets clogged into our drainages.
By the way, this is in the middle of a city. In the middle of a city. That right there, the building in the corner, that's probably a restaurant. Imagine you gotta go eat there. And when people talk about this, they're like, no, it's just in that one area, that country. Fine. Maybe if it's not in your country, that's cool. But a majority of countries in Africa, you go to, when they show picture, you will see this same exact picture. This same exact picture. I mean, this is probably, a busy business center. This is the back of the business center. Just imagine that.
Is not my goal to really leaving the on the bad side, if you will.
Oh,
By
sorry,
the
guys.
strong smells. There's no sanitation, no cleaning, and the creation of stagnant waters attracts malaria-carrying mosquitoes that kills thousands of children every year.
Yeah, that's the female mosquito. The female mosquito is the one that causes malaria. So when you hear about malaria, so that place where the water is stagnant, the dirty water, that's what the mosquitoes, that's their breeding ground. So imagine that. So that's why they cannot get rid of the malaria. The Anopheles mosquito. See, Audrey is pretty smart. That's what causes the malaria. The open sewer. And people, right next to the busy business center. And kids are just playing right there. Kids, the pigs, you name it. So this is why sometimes I understand people want to jump and defend certain things, to say, oh, we want to defend Africa. They want to paint them in bad picture. I get that. I'm not saying that never happens, but put things into perspective as well. And realize, yes, sometimes some things you don't want to accept it, but they are true. And the only way one can change, something that you don't see as good, is to accept that it isn't good. Face reality, and then it can change. But many don't even want to talk about it. That's why they're hiding it.
Waste is poorly managed, especially in the city. And as a result of that, because of the absence of dumping sites in the city, a lot of garbage gets clogged into our drainages, causing flooding, causing water to...
So you see it, right? Some of these people who are gonna, the pro-blacks, they would say, they like to, instead of getting the people to see the solutions of the problems, to see the problem and then the solution, they say, oh no, it's white people doing it. I bet you I can get some of them are going to say white people caused this too. So that's why it's hard to, have real conversation with people that think like that, because they are not in reality. They are in the Wakandan mode, and I don't like to conversate with people like that as well.
Accumulate around people's houses and compounds, and at the end of the day, it results in a lot of insect vectors thriving in the environment. So
You guys see that? You thought I was making up the big stuff. So you have the stagnant water, you have the garbage, you have the pigs, you have the kids, all right there in that source. How can you keep the people healthy? So you should, people should think about these things. Yeah. So when you're being passionate, being a Pan-Africanist, trying to tell me about how terrible, America is, think about this first and tell me what you think.
area where there is poor sanitation, we always find a predominance of malaria.
Malaria is one of the biggest killers in Sierra Leone. An estimated 2,240,000 people visit the hospitals every year to get malaria treatment. Of these, 1 million are children.
See, like I said, Mr. Untouchable said, after you show this filth in a very poor country, go and show the Mississippi Delta and Skid Row, California, and tell us why such poverty. I've already been to Skid Row. In fact, I filmed it. You're talking a block, and these people, majority, are druggies or have mental issues. You're comparing that to an actual country where this is how the people are living. It's not the same. There's no way you can compare it. Those people on Skid Row can leave Skid Row if they want to. They can just clear that area. Those people are just on, in this block, about 2 or 3 blocks. So it's not an actual city. Not the same.
Under the age of 5. According to 2019 demographic health survey, 12 out of every 100 will die before reaching that age. Many of these deaths are malaria related. This is Stephen Villansana, Mojo journalism reporter for Premier News.
And this is nothing to the people, but to the system that is in place. Why do we have to live like this? Why can't we treat us, our people, ourselves with excellence? Why can't we come up with a devise of a system, a plan to be?
See, you guys know I criticize Go Black on other things, but he's asking very genuine questions here. So this is why it's important for people to show, this real side of the places they visit. It is not, you are not disrespecting the people by showing the truth. You're not. So this is what the facts are. And he's asking very genuine questions. I have to agree with him on this one.
Be able to construct good modern buildings. Why are I'm seeing buildings that were constructed in the 60s, the 50s, and yet I haven't been shown anything that is of modern for the people to enjoy, for their hard work. This has nothing to do with the people, but the people who's in the governments. It's hard for me to see, why is it that I'm hearing the reports from the locals that the chicken I shared with you all, this chicken was so old, and I knew it was over a year old. I know chicken.
Did you guys hear that? So he's giving the chicken story now. And this is true, I'm telling you. This is why I told you when I was growing up there, I was a kid, we didn't eat in restaurants. We didn't buy food from the street. We weren't allowed to, because this stale chicken thing or the pancake they sell on the side of the road, it was a problem. People selling 8-day-old chicken, fried chicken. That's a problem.
The manager of the place told me I was right, that the government is corrupt with doing deals with other people in business, that they only have one importer of chicken. The people deserve better. The people deserve.
Bernard, you're right. People always say the government. But you're right. At what point would we say the people? The people. Because they are the ones living in that field. So it has to be a united force for it to change. It's not just going to be few people here and there. But the people that live in it have to be willing to do something about it. As much as you want somebody to win, But what if they are happy with what it is? Because you would see it's going to be hard for many to see beyond that, especially if they haven't been to other places and seen how people live in other parts of the world. This is their reality. So they just inherited that. So generation after generation, it just keeps repeating itself. It's like the time has stopped. But maybe, just maybe, someone can show them this instead of just the fantasy.
Deserve better infrastructure. The people deserve better waterways and electricity. That they have electricity on a ship outside of on the ocean. It struck me like, why? Why is it that we have these people who wants to run for these government bodies don't care nothing about the people? Let's get to the good part. The people. I met some very beautiful people. And that's why we are
And
from,
oh, sorry.
yet I haven't been shown.
And I know people, some are gonna be already, like I said, oh, he should have never made this. But we say we want to see people's experience. So, I mean, however people interpret it, this is what it is. We can't get mad at the person sharing the real account. I mean, it might not fit what you envision it to be. And I'm pretty sure, like, because another thing he didn't talk about, I remember in these places like Liberia, I saw the documentary on that. But like I said, experience is the best teacher. In Freetown, those beaches over there, the reason why those people don't even get European tourists, those, you see, there's the ocean, the beach is right there, but the people go and defecate on the beach. The beach is a toilet for the people going number one, number twos, on those beaches. So, like, who wants to be around, something like that? So people don't want to address those situations where you could say, hey, you have a beautiful environment here, but the only way this environment would stay beautiful and you can even benefit from it, make money from it, the people don't have to turn this beach into a toilet. So I'm not saying it's everywhere, but it's big enough to where it's a problem enough for them to make a documentary about it. So I don't know what is going on in some of these places. Well, Go Black is giving us his honest account. There is so many things that the people need to learn about instead of just this fake fantasy. Because even if you watch on Sierra Leone politics, the people, they always say everything, oh, the government should give us this, the government should give us that. Everything is the government, the government, the government. But look at like cleaning out, to clean that environment. You don't need the government for that. It's crazy.
You see that these people are looking for jobs. These people, Sierra Leone, that I was able to go out to the villages, that's where I loved the villages. If it was anywhere I would live in the villages. For the villagers was at least taking care of their property. It was clean. It was quiet. It was no pollution. Like the pollution that goes on within the city because it's larger and more people, and a lot of people just don't care. But I loved going out to the countryside, the terrains. Oh my goodness, Sierra Leone is beautiful. But let me tell you this right here too. The sad part is it's got the beautiful waterways and beaches, but yet it's trashed in most places. And
did you guys see? Did you hear that? Yeah. And He's right. He's absolutely right. Yeah, it's beautiful, but humans trash it. So it's human actions. But people don't want to say that. That is taboo. They just say, hey, hey, be quiet. You just look over here. Oh, come and you just want to be a citizen. You're distracted from reality. They don't want to change things. Like they say, oh, we pro-blacks, we want to keep it up. In fact, I saw a video of a pro-black who talked about investment and stuff. Look, I'm going to bring that guy's video in his shop in Africa, you know, in his shop. So this is the type of fantasy people like that want to create. You know, like you look at his shop, you're like, okay, is this one of those things where you're just tired of the American, luxury? You're like, let me go to Africa and play poor. Is this what this is? But I will bring that. But this video is, like it's pretty much the same thing as Liberia, as he's describing here. So you got to give it to him for keeping it real. Yeah, the villages are pretty clean because the people are taking care of it. You see how he pointed that out? So that means where, like in the villages, the people are willing to do stuff for themselves. They take care of their environment. So then what about in the quote unquote the city? How come you don't hold the city people accountable for how that environment is? It's a problem.
The only place that most people show you is that is so beautiful and all that right there that you see most of these people showing you are on the resorts that you got to pay to get in and pay $5 to sit down on the beach, because those who got the money, who owns that spot that most people are going to go to be on a clean beach.
Yeah. Audrey wants to task me to clean in the beach. I mean, like that would be something good to do. But now, the people that are using the beach as toilet and dumping site, there's a reason why. There's a reason why they're using the beach as a dumping site. So that problem has to be the first problem that needs to be tackled, because maybe they don't have a designated site where it is controlled, where people can throw, garbage at, maybe bathrooms, might be something they might want to invest in so that the people don't feel the need, to go do it at the beach. That destroys the environment. So it's one of those things. You're over here digging for the foundation to start your building, and every time you leave, you turn your back, the other group is coming, just, burying the ground again. You have to come the next day and do it all over again. You will never win. So that's how, if you're good, you have the ideas. So like when Go Black was saying, Africans in the West need to go back. Think about it. You're coming, you have the great ideas. You're finding yourself amongst people. Literally, what you're seeing, that's their ideas that is being manifested. So now you're coming there pretending, now I have seen different. Yes, you see the problem, but you cannot clean that problem up by yourself, because you see those people that you're looking at and try to see them as victims, they caused that. Those people are responsible for that. Okay? So until you're able to get the people to really see that, something is wrong with this, and we, the people, are responsible for this. We caused it, we have to clean it. Nobody from anywhere else can make that happen. No amount of books or education can get you to do that. You have to start with the basics. The basics is first, even clean the environment. How hard is that? But obviously, in these places, that is a problem. So you're coming with your idea of how you want to elevate the people, elevate the environment. Some might agree because that's a hard thing for somebody to just come and say, oh no, give you the middle finger. We're not with this. That will not make sense. But what is their action going to be? The most important thing is the action. That same action that caused the environment to look like that and allow it to continue, that is the real action. That's what you have to change out of the people's mind. There are some who it will be easy for them to, want to change it. There are people in those places, they want it. They also, trust me, not everybody is going along. But if you're outnumbered by these people that think like this is what you will get. That's just what it is. So yeah, Audrey, I would love to be responsible for cleaning these beaches, and but we have to first look at what cost it. Period.
Are going to pay that money. It is what it is. It is what it is. But people was beautiful. I got an opportunity to be in the city, got the opportunity to get outside of the city and really get a feel, but I could have went to many other places. But I chose to stay in a few places, and I kept it simple because, like I said, I really was Sierra Leone. It. I'm gonna do a video too on the west of Africa and the east of Africa.
In fact, he did do the video, and I have that video too. So he gave the comparison, and his observation is something that I observed as well. Like when it comes to infrastructure, stability, economy, the eastern part, southern part, they seem to be ahead. Maybe because when you adapt, Western culture, it seems to bring you to the progress. Because you see how the East Africans, when it comes to huge investments and the things they are focusing on, I mean, Kenyans, for instance, Ethiopians, is very different from people from the West. But we'll get into that here in a minute. I'll let him finish this Sierra Leone video.
In the east of Africa, where I see things are more developed than the West, and I shake my head to this day of why. Why is the West in the way that it is? I know it's a whole lot more politics than I can ever imagine. What goes on behind the scenes, maybe the problems of the connections of the colonized countries, maybe they have deals with and stuff. I don't know. But when I see other countries that are
So when people talk about, all Africans are the same or not, no, see, West Africans, the honest truth, it was hard to colonize them, to assimilate West Africans. When you go to people in all those various countries are still practicing the typical African culture. So in the East, the South, they lived with white people. So they were able to adapt a lot of their ways and learn, a lot of things that are needed for them to tame their environment. So when people go, they say, "Oh, we want to live like the real African way of thinking, African way of doing." But you see, when people go and see how it's really practiced fully, they don't want to do it. They want to say, "Oh, I want to change that. I want to change this." That's not how it works. So,
Thriving and
Bricks Bits. Yeah, I'll send the link in a little bit here. Give me a second.
doing well and can at least like certain countries like Rwanda, for instance, that can clean up. I say to the Sierra Leoneans, hey, let's not sit back and wait on the government to do for ourselves. Let's clean our country up. Let's clean our yard. Let's clean our house. Let's clean our business. Let's start there. And let's build from there. Because I don't know whether or not, whether you get offended by what I'm saying or not. Just take a step back and walk around your city and see.
See, he has to say that because he knows already people are going to get offended by this. Okay, let's see. Miss James said, "We don't need Western mindset, only we need Western application." Yeah, but fine. Like when you said we don't need Western mindset or application, obviously we see the Western mindset at work, not only in Western countries, but in other African countries. However, people want to interpret that. It doesn't mean I'm saying, oh, people now, all of a sudden you're going to say, I'm a white man or I'm this. You'll be fooling yourself. But it's about practices that work, practices, cultural norms that work. Nothing wrong in adapting, things that work. You can learn from whoever. It doesn't matter.
The traffic that goes up. I am amazed that there's no traffic lights. In 2021, no traffic lights, that you got police officers who stand in the roads that sometimes they even hold it up even longer.
Yeah, well, Sledge and people have to talk to get to people. So when certain people hear what the people that are talking are saying, some people can act on those things or not. So it's different stages. Different people, do different things. Yeah, Christopher, there is no traffic lights at all. At all. So just imagine how chaotic that is. I mean, they have the human traffic light, the cop. So that's why you have the cops demanding that, you give them something because they're not getting paid well at all.
But no traffic lights? We're in 2021 and you have no traffic lights? To ease the pain of the people, to be able to navigate through your city? Where's the money going? There's billions of dollars being pushed into some of these countries to help out, and who's getting it? We already know people.
Go Black cannot even believe it. He's like, look, I want to keep it real, but man, what is going on here? He's like, what is going on? What are they doing with all this money? The diamond money, everything. What are they doing with it? And for most of these countries, it's the same story. The same old story. And then you go read, you check on the donor list, countries that the United States donate to. And you see these same countries, they are receiving these donations and also what their leaders are signing on behalf of the country. They are signing loans. So it's a good question. Or maybe the president, who knows? Okay, let me play devil's advocate. Let's say these people have good intention. A president, he can only give his ideas and commands But then you see the people around that are supposed to execute these things. That's a problem, right? They're not doing their part. So, too many people in one place who are not willing to do their part. So, that's what's causing all these problems. It can only be the government. The government is the people. The people form the government. Nations only deserve the type of governments they have because the people are coming from their communities with that type of thinking. So, for many Africans, they would say the government, but really, though, is it really the government? That's a problem. Sometimes you got to think about that. Let's continue.
Then told me. They tell me how they feel. They just don't want to be recorded. I understand. But Sierra Leone is a place you should go visit. It's a place that you can go ahead and still enjoy.
Exactly, EYB Entertainment. You got the point that I'm pointing out. Yes, Ghana is adapting the Western way of doing things, and it's working. The Asian countries, if China, all those people.
There are places there that are lovely. But as far as Freetown's concerned, for me, in my opinion, I did not enjoy it. I enjoyed the people, the sights, as far as when it came to, looking at the different areas, but it was very much an eyesore. And I hope somebody here from the country will take light of this.
Africa is the future. Hear him, he said. Oh, Ghana never experienced civil war. Yes, Ghana have experienced civil war, not in these decades, but they've had the Ashanti expansion. Those were wars fought in Ghana, during slavery and all. But the excuse you're trying to give, that's not going to work because I'm telling you, pre-war, he's not saying anything here that just came about because it's the war. No, I'm telling you, before the war, it was like this. It was like this. So this is not just because of the war at all. So some of the places, if you say it's about war, I can point out Rwanda, they had the genocide there. Look at where they are at today. So it's not about the war. It's just the thought process, that's all.
And yet make an initiative of trying to start with that. And then hopefully the government can see that the people who want it so bad, they can do right for the infrastructure, the electricity, the sewer, the water, the beaches, the traffic lights. So with that, family, Sierra Leone, I give you a thumbs up for the people who are hard workers, who's trying to do, who are stuck in a place.
Go Black has been nice. Thumbs up for the people. Who do you think these things you're saying? Who's causing it? It's not the pigs that you were showing, the people. So he's being nice when he say, I'm gonna give the people thumbs up. So he's telling you, if you're looking to have a real good vacation, not the place.
That they gotta make do with what they have. And don't get me wrong, there's people there with money. I see there's a lot of big houses out there on the hills and all that there. But it's amazing to see there's so much more we can do. As far as the government system goes, for those who are sitting in seats and all that right there, we have to turn it to this, to help the people, to help your economy, to help your city, your country, because people deserve more. This is your man.
So this video helped prompt him to to follow up, with, what he's seen in, he's comparing East Africa and West Africa. So, I think it's fair for him to do that because he's been on both coasts. So let's hear what he has to say, comparing, the two coasts, what he's seen in the east of Africa versus West Africa.
Well, I have been to Senegal, Gambia, Ghana, Liberia, and Sierra Leone. So I've been to 5 countries thus far. On the west coast of Africa, and on the east coast of Africa, I've been to Egypt, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Tanzania, and Kenya.
Well, Egypt is not Africa, but we'll just take it. So he's got, all rounded, good variety of African countries he's been to on different coasts. So he's about to give us his perspective. He hasn't been to Nigeria. I don't know why. A lot of the Pan Africanists don't seem to go to Nigeria. I don't know why. But, maybe I'll do a show about that and ask that question.
And so 5 countries each. I actually can throw in Namibia, which is a southern coast, west coast of Africa. But in saying that, there's something that I prefer, or some things I prefer in my life when it comes to living. And
So if you listen to what he's saying, what he's about to get to, see, when you're accustomed to certain way of living, um, people don't want to trade it off for, less than, you know, like, I mean, do I want to be in a place where the electricity is not stable? I mean, nah. I mean, I've lived that life before, but now if you want to put me in that life, I would be, you know, I would be very, very inconvenienced by it. Very inconvenienced because I'm used to living a certain way now. So if you try to change that to something else, that's a problem. Okay? So that's what he's getting at. He's letting you know he's used to certain things. And even if he's not in America, he still wants to experience this.
and the west of Africa, let me say that
That's right, Slayer Jim.
there are some pros and cons when it comes to West Africa, as well as the East. There are some pros and cons. There is no perfect place in this world. But I'm going to say what East Africa does for me that the West does not, or as of yet have not. The East of Africa appears to me that there is more development.
See, one thing, um, like Africa is the future just brought something up that makes sense. So yes, I remember Go Blacks, um, some of his videos in Namibia and when he was in Tanzania, he talked about the place being too Western. So yes, he's not making up his mind, which is true. But now when he went to, that's what I'm talking about. One extreme to the to to another extreme. But it is important for him to, like this compare and contrasting that he's doing, I think is very educational. That's why I'm ignoring how he attached his feelings to them, saying in the past they were too Western, but he's come to reality with saying, hey, just maybe I can't do without my Western, amenities. So here we go.
Development that is going on. Whether you talk about Nairobi, whether you talk about Kigali in Rwanda, whether you talk about Dar es Salaam, um, even if you start to inch up in Addis Ababa in Egypt, whether you talk about, I'm not Egypt, but Ethiopia, excuse me, whether you talk about even in Egypt, it seems as though that they are farther along than what I find in West Africa. Now, when it comes to development, I am stating that in 2021, because we live in different places around the globe, there are some things that we have just become accustomed to. Whether it's technology, whether it is, having some of the proper water source.
So if you live in the West, there was a time when, I don't know now, all of a sudden everything is taboo. You cannot say it. When they would show on TV, oh, where African countries need help with water, they would show this on television. Prior to when they decided, now they said people are woke, everything is racist. But this was a thing, right? But for some people, like if you try to explain to a lot of people here in America that, because what I'm about to say, some are going to come and say, no, I've experienced it, but fine. That's not the norm. Most people, if you tell them about how the electricity it's not going to be stable, it's going to be on sometimes and it will be off. And the water, the same thing. The average American would look at you like you're crazy, like what is going on. They would see that as a major problem. But in most of these countries, that is the norm. In fact, people would tell you, oh yeah, it is what it is. This is Africa. So when they say this is Africa's meaning, don't expect much. Expect that, like, I'm doing this show right now, the lights could just switch off. If they do that right now, they better have a good explanation. Like, it wouldn't be normal, but in these countries it is. So if you cannot, those are just basic things. Those are not much to ask for. I wouldn't blame you if you say, oh no, I cannot live without that. Neither do I. They make your life so much easier. So when I was pointing that out in the talking, when I was talking about some of these countries in Africa needing to be recolonized, people were in their feelings, they were upset. So I'm just talking about just the basics that the people need, and it's not even there. So Go Black is opening your eye to that as well.
Electricity, whether it's waste management, whether it's sewer systems, whether it is food, whether the list could go on. I find that in my experience that on the east of Africa, there are modern developments that are happening that is growing and creating middle classes for the Africans.
So that explains Go Black's perspective when he was in East Africa, when he keeps saying the opportunities are here, they are here. But you notice in his West African videos, he's not saying that. Why is that? He's seeing reality. And also, that's something that West African countries citizens, the people, should be thinking about. Yes, you know, how come in the East, South, they are growing rapidly, you know, going along with the 21st century? Because you see, like, I hate to tell you, but in the way they do things in African countries in West Africa is very primitive compared to the United States. People are over here now in the United States, people are thinking about doing the metaverse where you create your own emoji, you know, your own world, because they said they're tired of all this physical stuff. Now they can just create a fantasy world. This is what they're doing, creating over here. They're talking about going to space, and places in Africa are still talking about electricity being unstable, the water being unstable. So it's not the same. And people need to acknowledge that. It's not all of Africa, but you know, these places he's pointing out the things he's seen, and he's telling us what is going on in East Africa. Kenya, Tanzania, you know, Botswana, those are in the south, but I'll let him tell you.
I find that there is more of a healthier living when it comes to more of East Africa. What do I mean by healthier living? Well, you know, when you start to bring in modernization, you have more hospitals, modern technology when it comes to healthcare. When you talk about pharmacies, or whether you talk about different ways of benefiting one in their health. I've seen some immaculate health technologies in some of these areas. Now, I can't speak for every country, but I'm going to say that when I'm
So, like, you know, now, even in, like, I know people from West African countries who are actually, they would go get their medical treatment in South Africa. They would go get their medical treatment in South Africa because they can afford it. I never see anyone saying they are flying to West African countries, any of them, because people like to say, oh, Ghana is doing well, but any of these countries, not even the other Africans, say, oh, I'm flying, I'm going there for the medical treatment. So Africans themselves, ourselves, know this. But the only place where the problem is when you point it out. So I'm glad Go Black to Africa did not paint a fantasy. He's pointing out what is real.
on the west of Africa, I feel like I and can appreciate the African tradition and culture because it's not so westernized. That's what I love about the west of Africa, is that they still hold true and near and dear to their tribes they're a part of, to their culture.
Let's see. Miss Gemslayer said, white people developed Northeast and South. Let's be real, because the weather made a better living environment and they could settle in those places. You're right about that, Miss Slayer Gem. The white people developed it, you know. So in that sense, you would say the East and South area are more westernized, more like domesticated Africans compared to West Africa, where the people are still wild and in the jungle, less westernized. I know some are gonna come and use that domesticated as something else, but it's just an analogy, just in case.
Where you get the experience more of, you know, the dance and the clothing and the, you know, the cooking and stuff.
FBA Nigel, yes, I do. There are There's a couple of them. Like Thomas Sowell is one of them that I follow. Very brilliant man.
And that's great for me when I travel. But for me to live and lay my hat,
Audrey. Audrey wants me to say speak for Sierra Leone and Gambia. Audrey, I can speak for Nigeria too, okay? You saw the last few shows. I was speaking, you know, about Nigeria. So don't get me there again. Sorry, guys.
my head down, or to uh, be in business, I am more accustomed and want to be more aggressive in.
Oh yeah, FBNI, y'all. I do listen to him as well. But see, okay, you've heard other Pan Africanists, they tell you about the businesses. And so what Go Black is telling you is what, okay, you want to travel to these countries, right? But if you're looking also to do business in an African country, the environment that you would be most familiar with would be, the place that is more westernized. So that would be the North, South, East Africa, but mostly East and South Africa. Because the they are more westernized. There's, white people that lived there for hundreds of years. So they are more westernized. That's the whole point.
The common everyday developments of technology and the way of living. East Africa has shown me that. West Africa still is trying to find its way because of the French colonies or the ecosystem, the francophone countries, they lag so far behind. And this is not to try to.
Well, he's now pointing out policies. He's making the French speaking the problem of West Africa. I mean, as far as if you go by policy, um, they seem to all be united in that just the banking system, that's what is off. So um, that's another disconnect in Africa that people fail to, realize. So like sometimes they're like, oh, why don't you go over there and do this? No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. We have a caller in the house here. Happy companion, thank you for joining me.
Yes.
Oh man, hey, I'm glad you called. You were in Sierra Leone too, right?
Okay. My
So
signal's kind of weak, but go ahead.
oh yeah, so you thanks for calling in. So I'm just analyzing Go Black's take on his experience there, what he's seen, and you know, giving his opinion, comparing and contrasting between being on the west part of Africa versus east. So what's your take on Sierra Leone and what you've heard, you know,
Yeah.
what you've heard so far?
Man, it's interesting because, like I said, he had a lot of valid points, and when I mentioned about the injury on my leg, um, we always kind of skeptical about saying things because people gonna think, oh, that's I'm speaking for myself only,
Mm-hmm,
because I see positive. I'm a positive person, but when I saw that, I said, that's something that can happen and hurt someone, and
mm-hmm.
so I said I need to let people know this, and it's something that happened, and I said this is something that needs to be said, and so and when I see that what he's saying on those videos, the clips that you made, yeah, it's accurate. And I think he visited many countries, so he has a good way of comparing the different ones. That I mean, the good, the bad, and the pros and the cons. So uh, sometimes that needs to be said for for people to be so changes to be made.
Absolutely.
And
Because
yeah,
how else is the change going to happen without people pointing out things? Because you see, like travel is another form of education. You are
hmm
exposed to a lot more, you are able to compare and contrast. And when you see people living in certain ways, certain standards, you're like, no, you can
exactly.
actually live above this because I have seen it. You
hmm
see? So to me, his videos here, that's the message I'm getting from it.
hmm hmm
Yeah. Yeah,
Yes,
that's the
yes.
message I'm getting.
That's the message I see as well. And I think, you know, I don't know if you remember when you interviewed me months ago. I was on the Al Halit show, and
Who?
Halit's show. The brother from Gambia, and he's in New York. He's a lawyer, I think. But I think may have seen that video. I was interviewed by him, but he said there's certain things that we probably can't say as residents in the country, but there's
Right.
certain things that the citizens can say. But there's also things that citizens can't say that people like myself can say,
Right.
and it'll be heard, and we can say things that they can't say. So, in other words, don't sugarcoat everything, but you still got to make sure that you hit the right things too. And that's what he was advising me as well. And I said, yeah, I lived overseas. I've been to East and West Africa as well. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I feel like, it is a good analogy, good comparison. And, I can't speak as far as like I've been to Kenya and Tanzania like 15 some years ago. I don't know how much has developed since then, but, it's like, you know, making everything as a like I said, when I'm on my videos, I'm seeing potholes in the road and stuff like that.
Well,
People are seeing it. Yeah,
because I've seen your
yeah,
your videos when you were in Morocco before getting to Sierra Leone.
yeah. Oh, Sierra
And
Leone. Yeah,
yeah, and the road from the airport and the buildings, it could be like familiar to any little city here in America.
yeah, yes, yeah. Some of them comparative to it. It's you got good infrastructure and you got bad, and then you see where sometimes it looks like some people just gave up sometimes. You know what I'm saying? It's not
Hmm.
like the people are bad. It's like, they're like just giving up, and it's like I really don't have it in me anymore. And sometimes you see that. So like I said, a lot of people take care of the insides of their property very well too.
Right.
You know,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah, it's immaculate inside people's homes, but outside it's like they don't. It's like that is not that is important as what's inside. So I don't know the reasoning behind it, but it seemed like I said sometimes it seemed like just people are like, I just gave up. I'm working. I'm trying to make ends meet and stuff. The last thing I care about is this right now. And the beach that he was referring to, I think it was River Two Beach or number two beach,
Yeah.
and yeah, and yeah, you have to pay to sit down, and I got that chicken over there that wasn't proper, man. I ate that chicken, man. I don't know if I mean, like I mentioned on the video too.
Or you ate the chicken too, huh?
Yeah, I said,
Yeah.
why don't you? He said, well, we could have made some locally made chicken. I'm like, that should be the first thing you should make is the locally grown chicken, not some
Right.
chicken exported from a different country. And I'm thinking, is it live chicken that they're exporting? He said, no, they're already chopped up and everything. It's not like they're live. So live chicken, I can understand. It's live. Okay, you slaughter it when it gets there and whatnot,
Right.
but it's not like that. Yeah, and I know. Yeah, 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 man. It's so. Yeah, it's something that some things, like I said, just dog out of country and consistently dogging and seeing a negative, and there's a lot of positive. that's wrong too. But so much positive and so much good things, everything
Yeah,
perfect,
it's a
operate.
good balance,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
because when you speak to a lot of the people, they will tell you,
Mm-hmm.
okay, man, people can see that this is a problem. They would say the
Yeah,
government, they point at someone, right? They
yeah,
would say the government, but then you're looking like, okay, like at some point, man, you gotta say, hey, man, what is the people doing? You know,
yeah,
why are they
yeah.
selecting this type of government? Why are they accepting this standard? You know, because you're given whatever you accept.
Yes,
So
yes, yes,
and it is the people
yes.
that live in those areas. You know, it is the people that are turning
Mm-hmm.
the environment into what it is. So to me, what I'm
Yeah.
highlighting is because people like to
Mm-hmm.
make excuses, like I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, because they say, oh, it's war.
Yes.
I'm just repeating, like, I have lived there before the war as a kid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everything is
Yes.
describing the way it looks. That's how it was. It
Yes.
hasn't changed.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
So
Got you.
I'm
Got you.
just pointing that out. I'm not
Yes.
saying, you know, like the people there are bad or good, because usually that's the
Uh-huh.
first thing people jump to. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't really look at it from that point of view, you know, like
Yes.
I'm just
Yes.
shining light on
I see.
on something that maybe most people tend to overlook.
I agree. And like as as different cultures and continents um, meet and greet and exchange information a lot. I mean, exchanging. Like some people take me the wrong way too. I'm gonna mention this, about westernization. No, I'm
Right.
not against westernization. It's like certain things may or may not mix well. It depends. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it's not mixing well, then it's okay. But I take the good out of any culture that's gonna
Yeah.
benefit
Yeah. But
anything. That's like
if it's working, you know,
it's working. Yeah.
if it's
Yeah.
working, if it's gonna
Yeah.
work and make things easier, you
Yes.
know, because you know, some
Yeah.
people are, "Oh, I don't want to be Western, you know, like it doesn't mean all of a sudden, you know what I'm saying, you're a
Exactly.
Western person. So let me ask you
Yeah.
this. Over
Yeah.
there in the Gambia,
Yeah.
to fly in, do you have to have the jab?
No. No.
Oh,
And even this time, I wasn't even tested again. I think it was because it was coming from Sierra Leone. This was a direct flight from Sierra Leone this time. Now I didn't have to have the jab. Nobody has to have the jab. I think because last time I was flying from Nigeria. I'm one of those who've been to Nigeria.
oh yeah. Oh, so you were
Yeah,
flying, you were flying from Nigeria to Gambia, and
yeah.
they asked for the jab.
No, they tested me again with the COVID, even though
Man,
they
they should
tested me.
have, they, coming from Nigeria, that needs to be scrutinized. Just joking. I'm just joking, Audrey.
I saw your video last night with two Niger and all them. I was in the background. I saw you guys last
Yeah,
night. Y'all had me going, man.
yeah. Tonight is funny.
Yeah, y'all had me going last night, man. I was gonna get on, man. I was like, nah, I'm not Nigerian enough. Okay, my DNA is Nigerian. I believe that, but I got cousins in Nigeria, but I don't know enough to, what I'm saying. But I saw y'all out there, crack. Y'all had me good. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
it was a good debate.
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
mean, it's I like
Yeah,
those, the debates
yeah,
because like mostly because people just they would shut down. They look at things from a perspective of,
yeah,
like or not like, or like they are
yeah.
judging it according to their, the way they look at things. But if certain things are being said, right, it's
Yes,
best for us to have open dialogue about it,
yeah,
open
yeah,
conversation.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes,
that's just what it is.
yes, yes. That's a
And
good.
Tunaja, he's always good for the debates. He doesn't back down.
No, he don't. He
Uh,
doesn't, man. He doesn't. Yeah, I miss him on my show sometimes too, man. And not to plug that in, but yeah, he used to come on sometimes. But yeah. But yeah, I was like, there was a comparison against like even my wife here, she Gambian, and she says that a lot of the African Americans and Nigerians act alike. They said, "Well, y'all
Yeah,
so y'all look alike." I said, "Hell, majority of us came up from over there, so we're
yeah,
still gonna have some of the, the culture, not the the swag and
yeah,
and now looking from here from the African standpoint, I'm looking and I'm watching the Niger movies now, and I'm seeing a little bit of the African American. I'm like, wow, it is. She's right. I was
yeah.
like,
And you
yeah,
can see the difference, huh?
the different differences too, and the similarities. I see the different in the
Yeah,
movies. I'm cool with the movies, but sometimes it's like, well, I mean, the shows, the movies are pretty good, but the shows sometimes I'm not up to that. I can like about 30 minutes, and I'm like, okay, let's go to another one, sister. Let's, what I'm saying. But
right.
they're interesting though, especially when they show the villages and they show the spirituality when you see the people. When I don't know what type of spirituality is down there. I think there's the Igbo land or something there
Yeah,
in Nugu or somewhere.
yeah. With the Igwes.
Ikwe's okay, and
I-
then all of a sudden someone appears out of nowhere, or they disappear, stuff like that. I've been checking those out.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Appear and disappearing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
It's good though.
yeah, it's pretty interesting. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so so
Yeah.
so so like from what do you think about my take?
Yeah.
Since you
Yeah.
you went, you visited,
Yeah.
you've
Yeah.
seen as
Yeah.
well, and it
Yes.
doesn't mean that there isn't other places that are beautiful. Of
Yeah.
course, no matter how beautiful a place is, it all would
Mm-hmm.
come down to how the people treat the
Mm-hmm.
place. That's what
Mm-hmm.
it comes down to. So
Yes, I like your take. Your take is good. I mean, you do very good analysis as far as I see in a lot of ways. Um, um, you break things down in detail, and it's like and I think even though when I was on yours, I got lit up in the chat room, but
oh
what I'm
man,
saying,
the chat here, they you have to
they light me
ignore
up.
them.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not even looking at the chat right now. I'm in my car because I was on the road, but that's okay. They
Yeah.
they can say whatever. I'm
No,
cool with
they are
that.
they are being nice to you.
Oh, hello everybody. I love y'all. Hey, be nice to me tonight. Yeah,
you know,
yeah. No,
they are being nice to you.
oh, they are okay. Hello everybody. Thanks for being nice to me. But if you mean, that's cool too. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, and I'm not plugging it in though. But I had spent some time with the brother too, Go Black, and I seen how he roll, man. Good brother, and I'm gonna throw that in there. Yeah, I'm gonna throw it in
Yeah.
there, and very professional doing this thing, and I learned a lot from him. I learned a lot how to do my channel. As you can see, it grew a little bit, man, a lot, really. Just some of the big bro. He thought I was older than him. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, man,
Yeah.
you older than me, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, but he set me aside and schooled me on the game. How to do my channel, and I'm like, okay, bro. I'm glad somebody said something because there's a lot of things that I wasn't doing that I'm glad I'm doing now, and
That-
I just yeah, and it's a
So
I mean
it was a productive meet.
yeah, it was productive,
That's
positive. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, very positive. No drama, no negativity. Just positive and learning and seeing and then actually to have somebody positive around and you can and relate to similar backgrounds we have and just to see um, um, just to venture together with somebody, and instead of
Right.
because sometimes I roll solo too, and it's like it was fun. It was a lot of good collaboration, good fun, and and like I said, I was, and then the driver was excellent. We had an excellent driver there, great guy.
Over in Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone, yeah, Cisse was good man who really appreciative, and he gave me a t-shirt and THC t-shirt with the with the Sierra Leone flag with the fist on it and stuff.
That,
I
that's
rock it.
that's
Yeah,
that's amazing.
yeah, yeah,
That's pretty
yeah.
cool.
But he made a
But
good point when he talked about the Providence. It is good because when we went to Bowl, um,
yeah,
it was was it Oh no, it was another Providence. It was another one that was nearby, and you can feel the peace there. You can feel the lack of stress. You can feel, just I think he even mentioned that day. I like to live out here. I think he said that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And I heard from the video that it kind of confirmed it. I thought he did say that, and it was like, and you can see that they didn't have that kind of worry that a lot of us do. And sometimes we to be a technical savvy type of people that we need to get to a next level. I think, as far as like on the continent, technology wise, I mean, you can have both. You can have that peaceful environment, and you can
yeah,
have a very advanced environment as well. They can work together, because when people need a break and they want to go and experience the Providence and just relax and have a good time and peacefulness, they can do that. And the other people from the Providence, when they come and see some action and go hang out and go on the scooters and and just enjoy life and go and do things that they not normally do, they can do that as well. So I think having old and the new is a good
yeah.
complement. Mhm.
It's a good combination, but
Yes.
they
Yeah.
they don't want to promote the old too much, because
Yeah. Yeah.
because we're seeing where that's going. That
Yeah. Yeah.
pretty much
Yeah.
just in circles. But
Yeah.
happy companion, thanks for coming.
Thank
Um,
you, brother.
but
Anytime.
towards the end of the show here, I appreciate you
Anytime.
coming in.
No problem, brother. Anytime, man. Hello, everybody, man. Good luck on your channel, man. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Much love, man, brother.
Hey,
Peace and
thanks,
blessings.
peace, ladies and gentlemen. That was happy companion. But yeah, people, that's my take on Go Blacks. You know, he's comparing and contrasting on this. Actually, before we close out, let me give you a little bit of it here. I want to finish up on this one take here.
Browbeat, to belittle, or to ridicule any country. It's that you'll find on the West, they are having issues of development. Now, we can get political and we can talk about what is being kept from certain places and countries in Africa, or what some of the West are doing. But I'm saying, for me, East Africa has an aggressive development going on and modernization that you are very well accustomed to where you might live in the West.
You heard him. So he's telling you that if you can move from America or England, wherever you are, and you still want to leave the Western standard, what you're accustomed to wherever you're coming from, you would find that in East Africa. I'm guessing Kenya, Tanzania, countries like that, Rwanda. So there is a huge difference between those countries and these West African countries. That's what I've seen. That's what I've noticed.
Now, you can find some major cities like Nigeria, Ghana, that has it going on, and whether
Yeah, Nigeria has some places too, and Ghana. We give them that.
it's Accra, Ghana, and whether it's in Lagos in Nigeria, you do have those aggressive cities that are going on. But as for the 5 cities I've seen, you know, the east of Africa seems as though that they are many years ahead. And but I enjoy each side of the continent. Now, if you really want to even because I meant get close to modernization on the east of Africa, I mentioned Namibia. Namibia is totally
Yeah, I've seen documentaries about Namibia. Namibia is pretty Western. It's like built like a old Bavarian German city. Pretty clean too. Looks nothing like your standard African, city. Looks very, very Western. Very Western European too.
up to par and standard when it comes to consistent electricity or water or technology, hospitals, because I've been to a hospital while I was there. I was there at a hospital there in Namibia, Botswana as well. And so I'm saying that I would lay out, that's one of the reasons why I like East Africa. The other thing I love about East Africa is the beautiful beaches. The coastline waters are crystal clear, bluish green, crystal clear.
See, pretty much like this environment, the all people have to do is preserve and protect them. The environment is already there. So in Namibia, I don't know if it's the white people that implemented that or what, but the place looks very European because, the Germans used to be, control the place. But I'm guessing they still have lots of European influence because they are able to maintain the beauty of the place. You cannot compare it to any, West African countries. I mean, not Nigeria. Nigeria is too big. So these are small countries.
It is awesome beaches there versus on the
And for some like visionary of love, say they go to Africa, she goes to Africa, he or she is not sure. If you're seeking Africa, this is the Africa, you're gonna get Africa. So if you're looking for westernized countries, maybe those, maybe for those of you who, okay, you're just saying, I don't want to be in America because it's quote unquote white people, but I want an America away from America. That's the picture he's painting, but good luck with that.
west of Africa, they have beaches and they have some nice beaches. But when you talk about the ambiance, you talk about the so-called scenery, when you talk about, just the layout of the beaches, hands down, East Africa has that beautiful beaches, and it's lauded with having.
Did Go Black make this video to specially piss off West Africans? So, West Africans, you can hear it. I mean, but all jokes aside, he's correct, man. When you're checking, watching videos, pictures of, these destinations, there's a reason why a lot more tourists visit those places than, the West Coast. It is beautiful. The beach, the water, the environment. And when you say ambience, I'm guessing, customer service. Because, like, you don't need some of these angry Nigerian women, they are serving you, but they don't want to do it at the same time at the restaurant. They show up to work, they don't want to be there. And you see it on their face. East Africans, for some reason, they seem to be pretty happy in those pictures too, and in the videos. They're happy to do their job.
Like Kenya, it has supposedly the number one
Christopher, yes, Gambia do get lots of tourists.
beach that most people around the world go to. So that's one of the top two things I like about East of.
Bernard said, Afrikaners go live in East Africa. I won't rule it out. Let's not rule it out. Maybe I can take my Pan-Africanist group with me somewhere in East Africa. Nah, man, I can't do my West African people like that. Okay? If it's cool in the East, that's fine. But I'm still going to the West. I can't do my Western people like that.
Africa. The third thing that I like about East of Africa is that it seems as though people are wanting to grow in development. West Africa, because of the traditions and their cultures and stuff, they take high pride in how they live. I heard that there's some countries that, the citizens don't even get taxed because, people are making very little money. But
Yeah, some of like the market there, for some reason, like in most of these countries, as you can see, um, if the people at the airport, like he described, the government officials, the way they act, do you think the taxes are going to go where they're supposed to? Not going to happen.
I see that there are some of the East African countries, there are a stronger middle class, which means that there are opportunities more for the local people, that they can see that they can make it in a middle class and come from out of a lower income class. Because I'm all about people should have opportunities to reach their full potential when given. This is what I find. That's what I like more, that I see of the.
So Go Black uh, pretty much is saying he likes African, like he wants to enjoy the American standard wherever he goes. That's pretty much what it is. Christopher said, I forgot to ask you, Afridamus, did you see Black Axe? You know what? I have not yet. It came on my, one of the videos programs recommended to me. But thanks for reminding me. I'll watch Black Axe, and who knows? Maybe we will have a conversation about it. Um, I wonder where these Black Axe people are from.
Opportunities for the people to move themselves out of a lower income bracket into a middle income bracket because of the jobs, because of the developments that you will see what is going on there on East.
So in many words, Go Black is saying, look, okay, if you want to move, whether move or vacationing, you as a Black person, because, you guys know he's speaking to Black people. He said East Africa would be your best bet if you're looking to have the, Western style Africa. But if you're looking for Africa, wild Africa, that's definitely the West. But the West must improve as well. I'm not sitting here saying, oh, they have to change everything. But some things, they need to be pointed out for the people to at least wake up and see these are problems. Because he was over there in Liberia. In Liberia, the people are very short-tempered. Very, very short-tempered. Captured some people, some guy arguing with another guy. He is ready to fight the guy, physically fighting him. Imagine that type of environment. This is what I'm saying. People not having breakfast and dinner. Every little thing would make them want to fight. Every little thing. Even if you say hello and smile, they're going to think, oh, their condition, and that's what you're laughing at. So in these countries, some of those problems all stem from things like that. But this is why I talk about these things, so that people can think about the other side. So people can think about the other side. Don't just believe it, try to Wakandanize the place. I get that. In reality, if that's how it really is, because there's a difference between is and should and all that. So it is not realistic to try to create a fantasy and think that's reality. So that's why I'm glad Go Black gave his 2 cents, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, because I did. I enjoyed it quite a bit and very educational. And I want to thank him for giving, comparing and contrasting between East and West Africa. Um, I will be doing more segments on this as well. If you're new here, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Um, feel free to comment. Nothing against anyone. Over here at the Afridamus Report, freedom of speech is very, very, very respected here, and you're allowed to speak freely. So, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys probably tomorrow. Tomorrow, we'll be working on another good show. So, until I see you guys, enjoy your weekend.